Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about how do I format strings in Python using the string format method. I got some examples that I've pre-made that we're going to go through, and hopefully they answer any of your questions about string formatting. And if you want to learn about more formatting types, because we're not going to cover all of them in this video, feel free to check this out. You can Google W3 Schools string format method and this page will come up, and this shows you all of the different formatting types if you have a particular use case that you would need to check out. How do I do this? It's pretty nifty. But that was the influence of this video, is that page right there, and I did some more Googling on other things, but that's what we're going to get into. And if you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. That way you don't miss any future videos. And I just like to teach myself different things in programming, or maybe while I'm at work I learn something new and I think, oh, that's going to make a good video, so I'll come on here and I'll do it, and hopefully you learn from these. But without further ado, let's get VS Code up. I'm going to put my examples in my other monitor and you can't see those, but I guess before we get to the string formatting method, in case you didn't know, you can do string interpolation, which is pretty easy. If you don't know what interpolation is, it's just an easy way of adding values of Python in a string. And for example, I'm going to have a name variable right here, and it's going to be John. And then I'm going to have a string, and I'm just going to call it string because I'm not very clever. And it says, hi, my name is, and we want to enter John in here. And you can think, well, one thing we can do is we can do plus name. And if I print that out, that should work. So let's try it. Py string formats. It says, hi, my name is John. But there's a better way you can do this, and that is by putting an F in front of the string and do curly braces, and then putting the variable or whatever Python you want to run in these curly braces, and it'll retrieve the value of this variable and add it to the string right in this place. So this is kind of like a placeholder. And you can also do, if it's not a string, you can do string and then 2 plus 3. And if I run this, it'll say, hi, my name is 5. So you can also do like arithmetic, as long as you make it a string, then it won't yell at you. But that's string interpolation. This is a little bit different what we're going to do. So here's a string, and I put a comment above it, and it says no placeholders. And you'll see what that means in a second, but really it just means there's nothing inside of these curly braces. You can see there's two of them. It says welcome blank or curly brace to my curly brace. And what we want to do is we want to put something in these curly braces. And that's where the dot format method comes into play. So I have this string named string, and what I can do is I can put the name of this string. So in our case it's just string, but this could be anything. It could be a, and then it could be a dot format. And then we're going to pass into this method two parameters. One is one string and one is another string, and these are going to go in the curly braces accordingly. So the first one's going to go into the very first curly brace, and the second one is going to go into the second curly brace. And so if we run this, it says welcome Bob to my house, because Bob will go here, house will go here. And notice if I leave out the second curly brace and I try to format this string, it won't error. It just it'll ignore the house, and it'll just put the very first one in the first curly brace and say, oh, there's no second curly brace, so who cares? But if we do the other way, if we have the curly brace but we don't pass in enough parameters, it is going to error out and say it's out of range. It's looking for a second parameter for this curly brace, but it can't find one. So you do have to be conscious of that. Now something else you can do, you can actually put numbers inside of these curly braces, and here's an example of that. And it starts at 0 and then it increments by 1, and notice 1 is here and 0 is here. So 0 is actually linked to Bob because it's the very first one, and 1 is going to be linked to house. And yes, I put yes, they do matter. And let's save and run this. Actually, let's clear this. It's getting a little cluttered. Now let's run it. And you can see a second sentence here, welcome house to my Bob. But if I change this one to be 0 and this one to be 1, it'll be just as we expected. The very first one will go here, and the second one will go here. And lastly, you can give placeholders names. So instead of numbers, you can give it some kind of name. And so this first one I put name because this is going to hold some kind of name. And then this one I want it to hold some kind of object. So like a house or a tent or a car. I don't know why you would say welcome to my car, but you get the point. So when we do string.format, we can put name is going to be equal to Bob, and then it knows, okay, well this name placeholder is going to be Bob, and this object placeholder is going to be house. And if I change this to the letter J instead of object, and I try to run this, it's going to give us a key error. It's saying, okay, we're expecting J as a key, but we're not given J passed in to this format method. We're given name and object. So I'll change this back to object, if I could spell it right. And there we go. Now it runs as we expected. And these don't have to be in order, right? I can cut this one out. I can make object the very first one. I can do comma name, and we'll run this, and it runs the exact same, even though they're not in the same order. So name is actually the second one here, and object is the first one passed in. Doesn't matter. So now we're going to do a combination of this and changing some format types, or as I like to think of them, options. What are some options that we can do to format this string? And this one's going to have 3 different things inside of this format, so brace yourself. This one's a little bit more intense. This one has a name, and then it also has this colon. Whoops. It has a colon, and then we have a precision, .2, and then we have a type. And so if we look at this W3 schools, we can see these are all of the formatting types, and I did dot or colon F, and this is a fixed point number format. And if we didn't have this .2, it would actually give it 6 places after the decimal point, and let's show that. So we passed in dollars is equal to 12, dollars is here, and so we're expecting this to be 12.006 zeros total. And let's run this and find out. So we have 6 zeros here, and that's because we got rid of the period 2. The period 2 is saying we don't want 6 zeros, we want 2 zeros instead. So if we run that, we can see we only get 2 zeros. If I made it .3f, it would be 3 zeros, and so on and so forth. But just know the default, if you don't do 0.3, you just do f, it's 6 zeros total. Okay, so in this next one, we're no longer giving it a named parameter. We're just leaving it blank as we did with the very first one. We're just giving it a type, or as I like to call it, I think I called it earlier, a style, or what did I call it? Style? I don't remember now. But what the colon underscore does is this will be the thousands separator. So we have this really long number. What is this? 13 million. So we should have a comma here and here if it were like a normal comma thousand separated number. But instead of a comma, or instead of nothing like this is, it'll be separated by the thousands by a underscore. So if we run this, you can see after 3 zeros, we get an underscore, another 3 zeros, we get another underscore. And yes, I used a little your mom joke. But if we wanted to use commas instead, because that's more popular, we can, instead of the underscore, do colon comma, and that will do the same thing, but with a comma, like this. And then the last one I'm going to show you is an example, and I thought this was the last most popular, I would think, formatting type is the percentage. So this is doing a few things. This is kind of like the dollars one, except there's no name. We're leaving it blank, but we're giving it a type. And then notice we're also, I keep doing this. We're also giving it a precision of 0. I'm saying, give me no numbers after the decimal place. I don't care. The precision is going to be 0, and we're going to change it to a percentage format. So this in percentage is actually 5%. So notice now if I run this, it's going to say I'm about 5% sure that's correct. And notice we didn't put either a percentage sign right here, because that's what I thought at first. When I was doing this, I thought, oh, we'll have to put a percentage sign after this, so it adds that to the string itself. But I guess it's smart enough to know that you're going to want a percentage sign after that. And also, if we wanted precision, so we wanted some places after the decimal point, we could do .2 percentage sign, And that would look like this. I am about 5.00% sure that's correct. And lastly, this is what I looked up on Stack Overflow. When I was trying to do this one, I was like, okay, I want to give it a precision. I also want to give it a type. And I guess that's also valuable here. How do I do that? What's the correct way to do this? So this is the format of, well, I guess how you're going to format. So it'd be fill, align, sign, which we didn't really go over any of these. I didn't find them that useful. But then dot precision and then type. So precision will always come before type, and here they list out all of the types, and you can see the percentage is in here. So it'd be dot precision, in our case 0, and then type percentage sign. And that's kind of like the order of operations, or the order of formats. Now you can do a line if you want. If you're curious about a line, go check that out on W3 Schools. They have an example. I didn't find it too useful for an everyday application, but maybe you have a special one, so it might be in your case. But that's pretty much the basics of string formatting. Hopefully you at least learned something from this, or at least to get the ball rolling. If you have other questions, this is a good, hopefully, foundation for you. And if you liked it, like I said, feel free to subscribe. That way you don't miss any in the future. And I hope to see you in future videos.